Peace, family. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods, peace to the earths, and all the righteous families of the planet. Real quick, I just want to continue on with the little bill. And a brother left a comment too, also in the comment section. Like I told y'all brothers, man, feel free to leave comments because, we can continue on with the bill. I could do that all day, just offer y'all questions. If it's a need, a concern, or something that you are unclear about or whatever, feel free to ask me, and I'll definitely build on it. I don't know, the brother Tyrone left a comment. I don't know if Noble Jew Ali got his knowledge from the Sufi mystics. I don't know, if that's information that is, pertinent enough that you can definitely show and prove. Yeah, definitely. Let me know, brother, because again, like I said, this channel is a teacher-student channel at the end of the day, and like I told you, I'm a student first before anything else. You know what I'm saying? So definitely that's information that I would definitely like to be, put on too. But I do know that he went to the East when I studied with the Moors. He went to the East and he got knowledge and information and brought that knowledge and information back. And it was said that he established the Moorish Science Temple of America. I don't know if you've ever seen that debate. There's a debate that Sonetta put out a while back, a couple years ago, with Dr. Ali Muhammad and Lord Abba. Very good debate. Very, very powerful debate. If you ain't never see that debate, you want to watch that. It was just a lot of information that was just put out there about the Moorish Science Temple and Noble Jew Ali and, his plagiarizing of teachings and stuff like that. Because it's an actual fact that the Aquarian Gospels is the foundation of the Circle 7 Qur'an. And the people who wrote the Aquarian Gospels, of course, were mystics, so they taught an anthropomorphic teaching of human beings being gods, the God concept in the human being. They taught that, but Drew Ali, did he teach that in America when he established the Moorish Science Temple in Newark, New Jersey? Did he teach that God concept? That's still up in the air for debate because, a lot of his teachings, from what I know, dealt with nationalism, one gaining their nationality, which was kind of like he piggybacked off of Marcus Garvey. Because I know when I was in the Moorish Science Temple or when I studied with those brothers, they teach that Marcus Garvey is a forerunner to Prophet Noble Jew Ali. They consider Noble Jew Ali to be a prophet. I consider him to be, a great leader, mujaddid, reformer, if you will. I wouldn't really say prophet. I wouldn't really, that's just me, But at the end of the day, I have great respect for Noble Jew Ali and his teachings. It's just a question of, did he teach the Allah God concept in a human being? I don't know. Did he teach a Sufi mystic teaching of man being saint or, exhorted to the position of a godhead? I don't know. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, back in the days, in the early 1900s, when the Nation of Islam was established, he would sometimes get invited to come out to some of the temples, the Moorish Science temples, and teach. And the messenger said, I'm paraphrasing, but they said in so many words, the messenger's teachings was like ancient Egyptian, mystical type of, Kemetic teaching, that the messenger was teaching. And he just basically said, he was just teaching the God concept, God and man, God is a man. What Master Fard Muhammad told him. He's the original black man, So in the Nation of Islam, or as 5%ers in the Nation of Islam, we teach that Marcus Garvey and Noble Jew Ali were great forerunners. We teach that they were forerunners to our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we have now. As John the Baptist in the Bible was a forerunner to Jesus Christ, or to Jesus the Christ. They thought John the Baptist was the individual. But remember when they went up to him in the scriptures and they said, "Are you him?" And he said, "No, I'm only one who's here making the way straight for the one coming after me is the one who sandals I'm not able to latch, and you know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, out of the scriptures. Like I said, I'm not a professional quoter, so y'all gotta forgive me. I've studied with so many different groups in these last 2.5 decades of my life. So, if I quote something wrong, or again, if I, hey, don't kill me, don't chop my head off, but my main point is to impart the understanding. Because I can guarantee you what I'm saying, I have complete understanding of it, but I may slip and quote a scripture or quote a degree, or, that happens. When you're learning every day, I'm learning new stuff. I don't know about you guys, but my learning ain't stopped after I got my supreme mathematics, my supreme alphabet, my 12 jewels of Islam, and my 120 lessons. That's just 120 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We know that 120 degrees, is 360 the black man's brain can attain. 360 degrees. The white man only goes to 33 degrees in the Masonic Lodge. And this is the reason why I can't understand some brothers, they get a little Masonic knowledge and they're thinking that knowledge now supersedes what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us for some reason. That always bugs me out, and I never quite understood that. When in their lessons, in their teachings, it tells you that it's only 33 degrees. That's it. Once you reach the 32nd, then you get to that. The 32nd is an honorary, and then the 33rd degree is those are honorary degrees. And then they have a third. It's a 32nd and a third degree. I'll build on that. That's a whole nother bill. But the 32 and 33 degrees, when we look at the planet Earth, which is the hydrosphere, when we look at the planet Earth, the Earth is 75% water. We know that water freezes at 32 degrees. Is that right? 32 degrees? So if someone has 33 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, they're just right above freezing level. You see what I'm saying? Their knowledge, to me, is still stagnant. They have a lesser grade of what the original man has. As babies, a baby is 120 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, according to the 5%. We're babies. Our 120 lessons is baby lessons. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called it that himself. Those are baby lessons. And I guess this is the reason why the Father had to give us, as a baby, is 1 or 2 years old and their speech starts to develop. You teach them how to say their ABCs. You teach them how to count. So the Father and the elders, saw it fit that we learn to say our alphabet first. And we learn to count first. And then from there, we move on into our student enrollment, because now we're ready to be enrolled as a student in this knowledge, this supreme high science, So Marcus Garvey and Noble Jew Ali definitely, to me, were great forerunners for the knowledge that I'm giving to the people now. Because it's as like how the sun rises. The sun it rises in degrees. It don't just pop up in the air. People would be blind if the sun just boop popped up. It comes up in stages. So that's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fard Muhammad's teachings were. Degrees of growth and development. They studied with Noble Jew Ali. They studied, Marcus Garvey. They were never a member of those organizations. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that. Master Fard Muhammad was never a member of the Moorish Science Temple. There's no documentation of that. There's no membership card ever bearing his name or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name. In the Nation of Islam, we've proven that already time and time again. But we ask the brothers in the Moorish Science Temple who say that the Messenger and Master Fard Muhammad were members of these organizations, please show and prove with the documentation. But I would submit that they were great followers like me. I'm a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But I'm not registered in the Nation of Islam. Same thing. You see what I'm saying? But again, The Nation of Islam, their doctrine is a little different from the Moorish Science Temple of what Marcus Garvey gave us. You know, much different. You know, interestingly enough, and I don't think I mentioned this already, but the Nation of Islam was once called a voodoo cult. Back when, in its inception, during the early 1930s in Detroit, Michigan. It was labeled as such by the Detroit Police Department, you know, and of course the CIA wanted to do investigations and stuff like that on this group of individuals, black Muslims, you know, who were walking around teaching that they were gods. Remember, this was something new now. See, Noble Jew Ali and the followers of Marcus Garvey didn't go around saying that they were supreme gods. This was something different. So in the Nation of Islam, this is the reason why Master Fard Muhammad had to keep it secret now. Once he decided to start his own organization, it had to be kept a secret. Before it was called a Supreme Wisdom, it was the Secret Rites. Our lessons was called the Secret Doctrine, the Secret, you know, manuscripts, you know. And Master Fard Muhammad just said that he was a prophet, you know, or the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him a prophet, rather. And in the Nation of Islam, he was known as such for some time until after his departure, and then the messenger began teaching then that the God and man concept, that no, that man wasn't a prophet, he was Allah God himself in the person of a human being. You know, so again, we grow through stages of development. You know, it's all stages. You know, in the Masonic Lodge, they teach of the master builder, which the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was a Mason. He said that. He admitted to that. But he said once he met Master Fard Muhammad, he put that away. It was no need to stay in the lodge. Why am I going to stay in the lodge and continue on being a Mason with just 33 degrees when I can have 120 and then 360? Why would I limit myself? You see what I'm saying? Continue on building. Continue on growing. You know, so after he met Master Fard Muhammad and he told him the science of Hiram and who Hiram Abiff was, the messenger only went to the 3rd grade or the 3rd degree. He was still in Blue House, but he left the lodge after that. There was no need to go back and pay money to be elevated in degrees when you can get all of that free. And furthermore, the black man is not a Mason to begin with. See, Noble Jew Ali kind of was alluding to Masonry, not really understanding that the black man, that we're not Masons. That's Caucasian people that are civilized or somewhat civilized. They are Masons. We're not Masons. We're Muslims. There's a difference. That's the reason why in our lessons now, it was completely different when the messenger gave it to us and Master Fard Muhammad. It dealt with a completely different theology. Completely different. And I can bear the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad witness to this. Because coming up in the Moorish Science Temple or studying with the Moors, when I first got knowledge of self and now began to evolve into the Nation of Islam and studying the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fard Muhammad and the Father, when I would go around the Moors, I would get into conflict with them. Because I'm teaching that Allah God is a human being and that I'm God or whatever, and they had a problem with that. They just wanted to keep it on the nationality, like, no, brother, you know, we Moorish Americans, forget all that teaching about white man devil, forget all that teaching about black man as Allah, you know, forget all of that. Yo, we gotta, you know, gain our, you know, reclaim our right as Moorish Americans and you know, and my thing always to them was, show me where the white man ever respected a treaty. Show me. Show me where did he ever respect a treaty? He's never respected any treaties. So therefore Allah says in the Qur'an, you know, the way it was taken from his people is the way it will be taken back. And how was it taken from his people? It was taken in blood. Black people were murdered for hundreds of years. On Africa and all throughout the diaspora were murdered mercilessly by this individual. So no piece of paper, hey, here's the May, remember the doctrine? Hey, remember we had an agreement? Hey, okay, no, it don't work like that. You got to fight for your freedom, you know? So this is just a little, you know, quick build, but I'm probably going to end up doing a presentation because there's a lot more that needs to be said. I want to build some more on, Noble Jew Ali and where he acquired his information from, the Aquarian Gospel text, the Prince Hall, Masonic Lodge, a lot of different areas where he pulled information from, versus Master Fard Muhammad and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They mostly pull from African spiritual systems, Sufism, and not just that, but they pulled from the sacred scientists themselves on this planet. Some of the most ancient teachings, that we have in the wilderness of North America today. Some of those ancient sciences the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad rejuvenated today and gave it back to us, which is the understanding of all things in existence. So this is the reason why we say he's the last and the greatest of all messengers, because with his teaching, we're able to understand all that there is, So, inshallah, family, as I close, the great Buddha, once said, if a man tries to understand this entire universe, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but if a man tries to understand the entire universe, he'll never succeed. But if a man takes time to try to understand himself, he will understand this entire universe. So, that just goes to show you, that inner G reflects that outer G. The inner God within ourselves, we got to study that inner God and build that up. So that way we could, be able to live out I, self, Lord, and Master. Our true African spiritual customs can be rebirthed again in the black man and black woman of North America. So with that being said, family, just a little short bill, but leave some more comments like that. And again, if I said anything with Drew Ali that offended anybody, that's not my, intention, because my job here on the M.G.C network is to synthesize all of the teachings, because again, the Bible says there is no knowledge except the knowledge of God, so with that, family, I leave you as I came in the greeting words of peace. We said in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods, peace to the earths.